doing a time capsule for Wednesday, October 26th for OurLog. This is big picture work that will be in service of pitching and also for sharing and talking about with, I think, a broader audience. And where we're kind of landing right now is that OurLog is an event choreographer designed for distributed collective presence. It's a tool for social event designers to be able to create and design the choreography through a kind of like pipelining interface that affords the ability for any individual, but in the sense like a designer,
Players.
a social
Oh,
designer,
yes.
to move players through the experience of an event. So this is where the choreography comes in. There's like some sort of like timeline view. It's kind of like machinations for cultural events. So people are flowing through the event as system, creating different spaces and different funnels for people to move through and have the experience, whatever it might be. They'll probably be moving through multiple different spaces in the sense of tools or spaces in the sense of context. So like maybe you're jumping into Zoom, maybe you're jumping into Figma. You're going to go journal in OurLog for a period of time. So you've got different ways of time boxing, timers. There's affordances for getting into and out of the actual group session. There's tooling to help design what the event program or agenda looks like ahead of time. There's different interfaces to be able to see what that agenda is, whether you're a host or a facilitator, might look more like a script, like what the back end sort of script looks like. If you're a player, it might look more like an event program. All so that everybody has an understanding for what is being proposed for the experience, what they're agreeing to, so that there's less uncertainty about why you're there and what you're doing. And then you can focus on being present with the experience. And that affords an ability to increase the group coherence. Your thoughts can compound. There's a distributed presence. People are together without having to consider why they're there, what they're doing, where they're going next. It can flow. There's like a flow element to this that I feel into.
That's the core of it. Yeah. Like it's effectively like increasing group presence through like flow choreography. So a system that helps you at all of the places of logistical and like coherence frictions. So like if we can smooth out just any bit of that, like the number of experiences that can benefit from this like is ratcheted up, then like can you add like that's the core of scaffolding. Then at each of these points, are they connected to a system that can record the output of these like spaces and triggers and meetings, so that there is effectively a recapitulatable record that can be utilized for analysis, can be utilized for collapsing it into artifacts, can be passed through AI, can be done. All kinds of things can be done with this, and because it's relational, you get like all kinds of interesting
Bless you.
informational stuff. And then from the and sneeze again. From the perspective of the first person's perspective of the player, like the environments that you can be in for this, like one of the ways to that I'm feeling into, like say like an event that is like a journaling group or something like this. You could arrange the felt sense of the experience in such a way, right? Like the bare bone experience is like go into an input and input some text or whatever. But you could, with this system in the broader vision, like drop them into like a sort of meditative 3D environment for 5 minutes. And once you've spent time like chilling in that environment, it pops open your writing interface, and then you write from that place. And then like when you hit post, maybe there is like an exit to this, and like now take that structure and apply it to a broader context to an event that lasts for 4 weeks, you know, and then all of the subsequent milestones within that kind of thing. So yeah, and then like how are you tying in the like different surfaces like Figmas and Zooms and all of this kind of thing? There's a technical like hurdle there, obviously, but the general sense is that like we're offering like a choreography scaffold that like you could drop people into, and that like helps them stay in co-presence. Can you do this over the course of a project, over the course of a company? You know, I don't know, but that's yeah.
There's goal states here that start at the base level of, at a minimum, individuals logging together. Those
Yeah.
could be shared with the group, and those could be published out to the world. The published out to the world, or at a minimum shared with the group, feel the most fun because they're the most creative and collaborative. But you could just have an experience where people are logging something, they're doing something together, and they might not be sharing with them. But the creative collaborative outputs with the group, like Exquisite Land, the newsletter, the Hunkered Down zine that Dave and I put together, where it was a group prompting exercise, those seem like they're potentially the most, they might sell the best to a broader audience. And thinking about the goal state and pushing the logged information through the system, this is where AI facilitation comes in. So giving feedback, responding to, mirroring whatever the content is in the system. And that could look like something like the AI is providing environmental context feedback on it. Sounds like the group, based on the information procured over X amount of time, is feeling unmoored or maybe a little bit agitated. So there's something that needs to be done here, or the group is really excited about these areas over here, potentially explore that further. So yeah.
Which gives you like generative prompts, and like the system is then responsive, and that gets better over time as the AIs actually increase in cognitive ability, which like, and if when like it is possible to train the AI on what is being like there's a corresponding like feedback loop on learning, like it can hopefully get contextually more aware, and then maybe there's a better way to design games with this thing, and you know we've got these like primitives that we've developed. So yeah.
I think the last thing, two things I'll note is there's potentially room for ambiance, like music, visual artifacts, interface design, skinning like different surfaces, so that the felt sense of being in OurLog and moving through these different choreographed experiences at like within the app itself. There's room to play here, I think. And the very last thing, unless Dave has anything else, is our next steps are to try to collapse this even further, because this is getting long, but turn it into something that is pitchable, that we can kind of refer to as an actual product and how it works and operates, and hit the high notes. Right now, we're just thinking through and reliving what we've been talking about for the last few hours.
Sounds good. Bye.